my name is Rachel Barkley, my banner number is B00235-735, and this is the first part of my coursework for International Events Issues. Today I'm going to be speaking about New York Comic Con, specifically New York Comic Con 2015. However, before I can do that, I need to give you a bit of background about New York Comic Con itself. New York Comic Con was originally hosted in 2006 by Reed Pop, which was created by Reed Exhibitions to specifically host pop culture related events, as Reed Exhibitions felt it was better sticking to the trade show sides of the market, which they were more comfortable in. Since 2006, the conference has been held annually in the Javits Center in New York City. Its main competitor would be the San Diego Comic Con, which is also held annually but has been run for much longer. When New York Comic Con originally started in 2006, its audience was estimated to be around 33,000 attendees. This is larger than the organiser Reed Pop originally believed it to be, as they weren't quite sure what to expect that year. But in comparison, in 2006, San Diego Comic Con had around 100,000 attendees, making it a smaller con, but a significant con still. Since then, however, in the past couple of times it's been ran, New York Comic Con has officially become bigger than San Diego, with this year New York Comic Con taking around 167,000 individual attendees, whereas San Diego has been capped at around 130,000 attendees due to their venue size. Yet, a con which New York Comic Con has been majorly successful in those past few years. However, as such a large event and an important event for that particular market, there are a lot of external factors which push into the scene. These factors include, but are not limited to, technology and culture and health and safety. In this video, I'm aiming to give you a bit of a brief look at some of the issues and a wee bit of a discussion about why these are important. The first article that I read on this issue was Electronic Word of Mouth in Hospitality and Tourism Management. This is obviously related more to the technology side of the business and is Litvin, Goldsmith and Pan, and was written in 2008. This looked at the importance of a consumer's opinion when discussing a product. It also mentions how this is more difficult with an event, as it's very hard for this product to be consumed before you've actually attended it and the event's over. But it looked at how important consumers believe that the word of mouth to be. So this would be a major impact on any event. However, it wasn't looking at the word of mouth in the sense of letters or talking to somebody, It was looking at electronic word of mouth, which is vital specific to events nowadays, as the information is so readily available online. The article went further into electronic word of mouth and discussed its uses within the events industry, such as websites and blogs, virtual communities that attendees can all get together to talk about, and potential consumers can get together to discuss any issues they might have with the event or to ask for information regarding the event. The article concluded by saying that this was a very important way of keeping in contact with potential consumers and past consumers, but it also had the ethical concern about overstepping boundaries that could possibly become an issue. Another article that I looked at, which wasn't related to technology, was a thesis by Kaler in 2015, which is specifically about geek culture events, titled "Tell Me Where I Am From, a study of the performance of geek identity at comic book conventions." The thesis looked more at how what Kaler describes as geek culture is becoming a lot more mainstream in current society, with TV shows such as Big Bang Theory making science seem a lot more cooler these days than it used to be perceived as, and major Hollywood films now taking place around comic book heroes, with movies like The Avengers, Batman, and Man of Steel now being extremely popular. However, it also said that this particular subculture group isn't liking the popularity, but at the same time is wanting to remain separate and exclusive from the main community. With when people are associating themselves with this community, they are now doing so with a sense of pride, but also at the same time, when somebody is openly admitting that they belong to this group, they are getting told that they are being fake and that they are only doing so so they look like they're in part of the culture. The examples he gave would be like the Star Trek fans, the cosplayers, which is when you dress up as your favourite character, the live action role players, and game fans, and other specific science fiction groups. All these groups are present at conventions, but the main substance of the articles that we looked at for that was that geek culture is changing, and that comic conventions are forever changing with them, which is why that would hold such importance to New York Comic Con. Another article I looked at for the health and safety aspect was the social amplification of risk in a conceptual framework, which was an older article from 1988 written by Kasperson and Kasperson et al. This looked at how the culture around health and safety has changed, and a lot more people are now a lot more interested in their health and their safety aspects when attending different things. And it looked at how the public's increased knowledge of health and safety was impacting the way that events were ran. Now, properly looking into the technology and how this properly relates to New York Comic Con 2015 would be the ways that they are now interacting with their consumers. The new technologies, such as different blog sites which are highly populated by fans, Facebook groups which fans use so they can get to intermingle before and after the event to discuss past experiences, could be crucial to the way that New York Comic Con would start to run itself. Different ways about this could be if somebody is looking at a specific panel, which would be an interactive experience with someone within the industry of comic books or comic related genre. If somebody was looking at that specific panel to attend on the day, then when they go on their Facebook, they've got then the links to the works that these people have done to try and encourage knowledge beforehand. Also, a different way that they could do this would be for New York Comic Con specifically, if they don't think they're going to get major attendance at a panel, or that a panel is going to be too popular to hold in one place, they could start conferencing their panels out with those in the actual venue. And such, it would be, for example, they could host the actual panel, for example, in the Javits Centre in New York, but broadcast it on a podcast feed to fans around the world who may not have been able to purchase tickets to New York Comic Con themselves, or if it's not going to be a well attended panel because the fan base isn't there for that person in New York, they could broadcast the event to make sure that it gets enough popularity to be worth holding. That shows that the technology is ever changing, as years ago when this started, that might not have been as readily available for everyone to access. Looking at culture in terms of New York Comic Con, without the actual subculture of the comic book genre, there wouldn't be the point in events such as New York Comic Con. So the culture is needed to thrive for New York Comic Con to actually be successful. This is closely linked to the fact that with different changes in the comic book genre culture, with different movies and TV shows constantly emerging, New York Comic Con organisers, ReedPop, will have to keep on top of who is in right now. such as you wouldn't be hosting events related to the things that were popular in 2006 at their 2015 convention. This would end up losing them their audience because it isn't seen as relevant in today's market, which means that they lose their popularity and start to slip back down the scale and become a less popular convention. Health and safety is highly prevalent at New York Comic Con, with, in the past, there being multiple signs, multiple announcements, and multiple volunteers around the con to help ensure that the thing is run safely and no one there is at risk of anything. But for the ReedPop, who are the organisers, they have to, when organising the event, work very closely with the New York Health and Safety Division to make sure that they are sticking with their laws and regulations to make sure that the event is run not only safely but legally, because they have to make sure that the access to the building is safe, that there's fire exits, people with issues such as wheelchairs and other mobility problems could access the panels, could make sure they are safe within the building and it's not overcrowded, that if anything was to go wrong, that they were completely covered and had a backup plan to ensure the safety of their staff, their volunteers and their attendees. Based on what research we've done so far, New York Comic Con at the moment would be best looking into the technology side of personalised dealings with their consumers, to make sure that not only as a mass event, their Comic Con is felt as being part of something, but also that it, instead of one to the many aspect, it's one to one aspect, to make sure people feel valued as a customer. For culture, ReedPop will have to make sure they are keeping up with the current trends of the market to make sure that they don't end up alienating the very people they need for their event to succeed. And for health and safety, ReedPop will have to closely work with the New York Health Division. However, these are only some of the recommendations and more will be expanded upon in my report. Thank you for watching, and my references are situated below the video.